if your significant other wanted to have multiple ladies, right? Would you be cool with that?
And we're together?
Yeah, y'all together.
No.
Why? What? Why not?
Because I feel like, why do you need all these people? You're giving your energy to all these people. Like, that's just weird to me. You shouldn't be doing that. Like, I don't think, how are you going to call me your lady, but you're giving all your energy to all these other people?
So the question is monogamy natural or is it imposed? Is it natural behavior? Is it natural behavior or is it socially imposed?
I'll lead off.
What y'all think?
Any real man needs at least two women, at least minimum. But if you like a square, you might get by with one. So only squares.
Monogamy is natural for squares.
Yeah, monogamy is for squares. It's for niggas like these.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother.
I know for a fact that monogamy is not natural.
Okay.
It's possible when you have an understanding with another adult and you guys don't renege on that understanding. However, nature always wins. So you got to remember, it's 2023, right?
Yeah.
So now you got all type of social media platforms, you got dating sites, X, Y, and Z. So it's probably going to be a little bit more difficult for you to be like, oh, okay, I love you, and I promise I won't put my dick, or I won't let somebody put their dick in me. You're like, oh, you swear? Yeah, I swear. I promise.
Right.
But,
all the 100 people in your DMs, you ain't gonna talk to none of them.
Which is fine. I understand. I'm not tripping. That's great. So then you got to remember, in our generations, our parents met in the 60s, 70s, or the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't any of the social media platforms. And the man typically provided a financial stability for the female and the rest of the family members, right?
Okay.
So now the shit has flip-flopped, and the women are making 6, 7 figures and even 8 figures.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of funny, like now, these motherfuckers trying to sit you down on your couch and talk to you, like, let me talk to you for a minute. I make more money than you, and I'm with fucking people all the time, but I love you. You get what I'm saying? I'm telling you. It's like, yo, like, you like, are you serious? You like, I'm fucking serious. And I want you to be here when I get back. But if you're not, I do have a replacement person for you. So I want you to leave your parting gifts and walk out the door and leave the keys on the table. So it's like, so do I think monogamy is imposed? Of course it is. It's a religious force. In particularly, it was something that was implemented by a Caucasian man to try to control white women. And there's one thing you ain't gonna motherfucking control on this hemisphere and the other hemisphere is white women. They gonna do what the fuck they want sexually. I promise.
Okay.
I promise. Yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, that's why we're in this shit we are now with the war with women. Is monogamy is not natural. It's just not. It's not a natural thing. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. What you think? What you think over there, Mister? What you think over there, Chucky? What you think? No, yeah.
So let me tell you though.
Tell us, bro.
Let me say this.
No, yeah. Speak your truth, my brother.
I'm just gonna tell it how it is.
Tell me how it is.
I honestly think that I think that monogamy see this is the idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's when we talk about monogamy, right? We usually talk about it from a perspective of, can a man have more than one woman? Can a man, or should a man just stay with more than one woman? So the question in my mind is, well, let me make this statement. Is it cool for a woman not to be monogamous?
Of course.
I mean,
is that acceptable? Cleopatra and them was doing it like back in the day. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about strong black women. They was actually kings and queens. You know what I'm saying? And that's where they got the shit off with his head. You know what I mean? They're like, hey man, like you weren't really putting down in the bed, and I don't really like your odor, so I'm just gonna cut your head off. That's where the beheadings came from, kinda, to a certain
Right.
degree.
Man, I think that um I think that everybody has a desire to be with other people. It's like um sex is an appetite,
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and a need,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's just like when you're eating food, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see, you like, you go to a restaurant. One of the things that we all do, right? When they walking us to our table, right?
Mm-hmm.
You eyeing everybody else's food to see what they got on their plate to see if it look good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you order, you order what you gonna order, but you still looking at the other people at your table like, damn, theirs look good too,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
you know. And you sitting there with your girl, she might let you try hers, and she might try yours,
Oh, you know
but
she
it's
don't want to try yours, but go ahead.
right every single time, right?
Right,
But
right, right.
But it was available for her to get the same shit, but go ahead. I
She
know you digress.
and she gonna be like, nah, I don't want none. I don't
right,
want
I
none.
don't
But
want none of that.
but for some reason on your plate, it's gonna look appealing to her.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
look
yeah,
appealing.
yeah, yeah.
And so when you dealing with appetite, right? You're gonna see other things that's appealing to you, right? But your plate is your plate, you know. Your plate is your plate. I think that in certain circumstances and in the right timing, that is that is there's a need, it will be a need for multiple wives, right? I think there's going to come a time where there's going to be a need for it. I think that if there's no need for it, right, then although we see something appealing on somebody else's plate, right, we ordered what we ordered, bro.
Right,
We got what we got, you know. And so because we got what we got, we have to find in what we got something to satisfy our or that satisfy our appetite, right?
Mhm.
Or your other choice is this, and there anybody can make any choice they want, right?
Mhm.
You know, um, your other choice is this: don't commit, because when you commit, right,
Mhm.
you giving your word to somebody that you gonna be monogamous, right? And that they gonna be the only person for you or in your world at that particular time.
right,
Things go wrong, divorce happens, or whatever, right? But
Right.
don't commit if you're not ready to be monogamous. You
right,
know,
Mhm.
if that's not where you at, then don't commit, you know. And I suggest, you know, that we all just settle down to a good choice until it's time to have multiple women, till it's time to have multiple wives. Like shit, it's hard enough. And if you deal with like me, I deal with black women, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Everybody can deal however they want to deal, right?
Right, right.
But dealing with black women, and I'm not trying to stereotype us, but dealing with black women, they've been through so much as it
Mhm.
is that they have PSD, right?
Mhm.
And
PTSD.
huh?
PTSD.
PTSD. Post
PTSD,
traumatic stress. I mean,
stress disorder. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, that thing, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they because they have it, right? They react a certain way. That's not always I want to make sure I use the right word right here.
Uh huh.
um it's not always um
Rational.
Yes. Well, I don't want to say they irrational, but for lack of a better word, we're gonna use rational, right?
I'm just stirring the pot. I'm just stirring the pot a little bit.
Right.
Stirring the pot.
So with that, and with that said, it's hard enough to deal with one irrational person or potentially irrational person. I'm trying to clean it up, but it's hard enough dealing with one. Imagine dealing with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's a lot of brothers out there that try to manage that. Right? I watch it all the time. It's brothers out there that try to manage that, and it's not just black women, because I've seen brothers that try to manage dealing with multiple races of women. When you're dealing with multiples and we haven't learned how to deal with one yet, right? You in some damn trouble.
Right.
Like you in some real life trouble. Somebody, and this is the thing, right? When there's multiple people, somebody's going to get hurt. Period. Whether it's physically or mentally, somebody's going to get hurt unless y'all have matured to
maturity. That's a key word.
What did I say?
But we're dealing with irrational. We're dealing with irrational. We're dealing with post-traumatic stress people. Right?
What did I say in my segment though? I said, man, it's about understanding. When you develop understanding,
right on it.
Yeah, when you develop understanding, there's no discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Understanding. Yeah. Wait, and not just understanding. Let me take it just a little bit further. Acceptance and understanding.
Yeah.
Right? Because they gotta be willing. I watch a couple of our comedian brothers. You know, they say they live in polyamorous. How you say it? Polyamorous.
Polyamorous.
Polyamorous situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
But every one of them that I've heard say that, they come back like, oh yeah, that one, she gone. She was upset by blah, 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 or this, that, and the other. Man, that's a hard thing to deal with. And it takes a special kind of man to be able to handle that. And I know my brothers out there like, well, David had 100 concubines or whatever, right? And this, that, and the other. Man, do you know what? You know why David was able to slew Goliath? Because that nigga had 100 concubines and he could have beat anybody. Like, with all that stress, he wanted to go home. He wanted to leave and go kill somebody. And he said, "Who the biggest motherfucker out here I can kill?" And he went and killed Goliath. No, I'm just making jokes, but
right.
It's not gonna be. That's not easy. And I think that you got to be in the right place mentally. Or everybody that's involved has to be in the right place mentally when you're dealing with the American black, right? Now there's other societies, right, that do it all the time, right? Mm-hmm. You go to some of those Islamic societies, they do it and they do a job at it, but it's the norm in their society. That's not a norm in our society. So, until we mature, both sides, men and women, mm-hmm. until we grow to a correct, as my brother Elijah say, a correct understanding of that thing. Understanding of that thing, I wouldn't mess with it. Okay. That ain't for everybody, bro.
Yeah.
It ain't for everybody. Okay, now let me ask you this: are you going to be monogamous?
Yeah.
But you just told me you didn't believe.
I know. I said it's socially imposed, and it's not. I didn't say it's like natural, but I live in society, so I'm socially imposed to think that way, and I feel like that's what I want to do.
Let me weigh on this real quickly here, so we get out of here. I just want to say I agree. So at some point in life, I forget what I was reading, but I read that among the whole animal kingdom, that the animals that desire monogamy are the same animals that have sex for pleasure.
Penguins. Penguins.
Right. Animals that have sex for pleasure tend to desire monogamy. In other words, if you only have sex for breeding purposes, monogamy don't matter. But
Right.
if you're having sex for pleasure, then monogamy is the desire. I think monogamy is natural? I think that I think the desire for monogamy is natural. I think the actual act of monogamy is not. You know, I think,
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
and because and for the same reason, the same reason as the rest of the animal kingdom, the desire for monogamy is natural, because if you're having sex for pleasure, then at some point emotions and feelings and all of that stuff is going to get involved. Once the feelings are involved, you're going to want to have an exclusive deal with that person, that, you know, this mine, this for me.
Hey man, hold on, man. So what's funny about that is, can you imagine that? Like, let's say like grizzly bears. Like, I mean, number one, hey, hold on, hold on, all
I
fucking
thought about
grizzly bears.
lions.
Hold on, all grizzly bears look fucking alike, or lions. So how the fuck do you mark a person like, oh yeah, I shit on her fur? So yeah. What the fuck is going on, man? Like, bitch, you like, man, you look like the same motherfuckers everybody else, motherfucker.
But they probably think we all look alike. They probably look at grizzly bear and they can instantly tell, that's my woman, that's my boo. Look at the way she look at
Look how she's swatting them fish.
right.
Hey, look, this is why I thought of lions when he said that. When he started talking about if it's just for procreation, right? Because if you ever seen a lion, that nigga fast as hell. Then that nigga fall right out. He done.
So sometimes the girl get mad at him. They'll bite his stuff. They'll bite his stuff and be like, "No, you ain't done. You ain't done." Yeah. So
Wow.
And I also think that among humans that monogamy or relationships in general, it's kind of a whether it's written or not, it's a contract. And you know, I think that it should be a choice, you know, between the everybody involved. I think where it goes sideways is that people will tell you that they agree to this contract of monogamy, and they don't.
They don't agree.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
So then that creates problems. Somebody go out and cheat. I think if you're not if monogamy is not your thing, then don't put it out there as though it is. I think a lot of people are willing to deal with either polygamous lifestyles. A lot of people are willing to not have commitment at all. But
like I said, understanding.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to develop understanding is to communicate. You can never assume. If you have any assumptions, you're going down. Like you said, when people start getting feelings involved, and there's so many entitled people. You know what I mean? Like women like to control men like to control women, whatever. And you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, when you get an understanding, you should probably have more control over yourself.
Yeah, right. And I think there's an economic aspect as well that we haven't really touched on or considered. The nuclear family has an economic aspect to it. That family structure in general, like you said, that our modern idea of monogamy may have come from European men, but I don't think that it's exclusively been practiced by them. You know, go all over the world, and the nuclear family structure is at least it used to be common. you know,
Right.
almost everywhere. But nowadays, like you say, with social media, with this, with that, it's becoming less and less common that people feel that there's less of a need for you know, for roles. Be there, you know, we used to have like very, very specific gender roles. Now all of that's loosened up, you know.
Of course, I mean, shit, loosened up. Shit, I
Right,
mean, it's like,
it's almost gone. It's almost gone, and for better or worse. Some people think
and
it's
like,
good. Some people think it's bad.
yeah, and like, yeah, like, and that's a great point. Like Charles, you know, I know he has a Nation of Islam slant on that, but sometimes here's what I know. Like, I come with masculinity,
Mm-hmm.
so my masculinity does not come with misogyny
Mm-hmm.
because I understand the value of a woman. Have I
Mm-hmm.
been mean to women or not, or mistreated them? Not on purpose. Have I? You know what I mean? I always started off, whether this woman just wanted to love me, fuck me, or marry me. It was always, everybody starts off with a name.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, when it comes to that, I can't be feminine because I don't have a feministic tactic in my DNA. Do
Right.
I have a feminine side? Perhaps, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not what we're talking about. So
Mm-hmm.
when femininity comes in, that does not mean weaker.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
It means that
Right.
you're
Right.
providing a feminine product. I mean, not feminine. You're a feminine energy that is needed to perpetuate humanity.
Right.
Because
Balance. Mm-hmm.
without it, there's going to be some problems.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Let me say this, and I agree with what you're saying, Elijah. Let me say this. My father was talking to me actually this morning, right?
Mhm.
And he made a statement. He said, "Man, I remember when I was coming up, my grandmother would get up every morning and fix breakfast for the family and for my grandfather, right?
Right.
Huh?
And then he started talking about when they was going to school, and and how when he, you get home, your mom is there to help you or whatever.
Right.
And I said, my response to him was, yeah, because there was a time when women were proud,
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
and they wore it as a badge of honor to say that they take care of their family,
Right.
you
right.
know.
Right.
um and somehow in the midst of this women's liberation stuff, and I
Mm-hmm.
think women should be free, right?
Mm-hmm.
But don't make a woman that want to take care of her family a pick me, or
Right. No.
call her a fucking pick me,
Right.
or
Right.
don't, if she, if she's taking pride in that, right? She's taking pride in nourishing her family.
Right.
She's taking pride in the fact that what she's feeding her family is giving them what they need to go out and conquer this world. She's taking pride in being gentle with a husband that's going out every day trying to make sure that he providing for them. So, and we got into a discussion, right? I heard I think it was Les Brown, right?
Okay.
He said anything you give to a woman, she gives it back to you better, right? You
Mm,
give her a grocery, she'll make you a meal. You give her a sperm seed, she'll make you a baby. You give her whatever you give to a woman, her nature is to make that thing better. Right? You give her a house, she turn it into a home for you. But we've gotten so far away from the essence of women being women, and losing the fact that they um I remember me and Jay had a conversation once, and we was talking about God, and I kept saying he, right? And Jay would just casually say she, right? and, and but when you think about, see, this is the thing, when you think about true femininity, and you think about the essence of a woman, right?
right.
And if you're a religious person, and you don't necessarily have to be a religious person to get this, right? But if you think about a woman, essentially God took the best part of himself and
Mhm.
made woman.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And if we look at her as the best part, what's wrong with her being her own self? Why do she have to be me?
I can't think of any job that could possibly be more gratifying and more important than raising a child. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I say that as a parent. There's no job that can give me the same type of gratification as you know as raising my children. So why have we've made these things, put these things above those things? And I understand that men have made some mistakes in that you know
Right.
in the
And taking advantage.
I think we've taken advantage of those gender roles in some ways, and we've made some of us have made women feel like their roles were less significant or less important.
Right.
I personally think their roles have always been most important. I can't
Most
imagine
important.
anything being more important than what they do or what they traditionally did. Now, in terms of how that relates back to monogamy, I do think economics has played a big part in that as well. I think one of the reasons why a lot of men broke those vows, initially, is because because of the way economics plays into it. I think
Right.
that it used to be in certain societies, it's very acceptable that in plain language, a man could have as many wives as he can afford. Now, in our
Right.
society, in American society, where you brought this standard that the nuclear family is going to be the example, then a man still had as many women as he could afford, but he still only had one wife.
Right.
So then you got a dilemma there where you're preaching and teaching monogamy, but then you're practicing polygamy.
Listen, at the end of the day, yes, it is forced upon us. As us being kings, we supposed to have different females. We supposed to have wives, not just one wife. You understand what I'm saying? So therefore, as us being a king, we already handful, man. You understand what I'm saying? So the other wives make it easier for the main wife. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way life's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, dead ass. I mean, to be dedicated to one, hell yeah, it's forced on us. Dead ass, for real. That's why we going through court and all this bullshit. It's all about money now with marriage and all that and being just the one. It ain't never good enough, and we ain't never satisfied neither. So, you know what I mean? To help us prevent ourselves from jumping the fence every motherfucking other night at a strip club or whatever the hell we doing, it's better else to lay your seeds royalty-wise. You know what I mean? You need more than one wife.
I think in a lot of ways that the desire for monogamy is there. I think the desire for monogamy is there. Even for men, we might not desire it for ourselves, but we desire it for our woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, man,
But-
I learned a long time ago, man, you can't tame no womb. And like I said, when you develop an understanding, which is very so, like when I say that word, it's like when we talk about race. If we develop an understanding, we wouldn't have to talk about it no more. I'll leave it at that.
Right. Right.
But some
Right.
people are fucking liars, and they know once you develop understanding, there's some things they will understand that the natural and the nature will kick in, and somebody gonna be full of shit.
Somebody gonna be full of shit.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not talking about Denzel. We're not talking about, you know what I'm saying, David Beckham or whoever, or LeBron James. Like sometimes your wife wants to fuck the neighbor, and like, and it might happen. So I learned this thing. I will never stop her because that's not my vagina. But what I will stop is you put me involved in that shit. In particular, I told you I didn't like that. How about that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, I'm good. And you get convince me like, oh, it was just a one-time deal. Well, look here. Let me tell you about the whole deal. Fuck you, and it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like for me, I've had issues with women where they wanted me to love them, but I'm a very transparent person. I'm never gonna lie to you about nothing, and I'll let you know where you stand, whether you male or
Yeah.
female. If you ask me a fucking question, be prepared for the answer.
Yeah, that's one of my mottos. I completely agree with you. One of my mottos is don't ask me a question that you don't want to hear the answer
Yeah,
to.
man.
Because
Right.
I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah. And then the thing about it is though, like it may be something that you needed to hear, whether you don't like it or not. You understand
Right.
that? It might have
Right.
been that food that you needed to not that the nourishment you needed to not starve to death. Because some people be fucking feeling themselves. And we could do a dating segment next time. It's a lot of 4s and 5s and barely 6s out here that think they the shit, man. You like, man, are you out of your motherfucking mind? Stop it. So for instance, and and like say
Hey,
for instance, like I saw Kiki Palmer, she just had a baby with a dude that looks kind of corny to me. But
Right,
at the end
right,
of the day,
right,
that's none of my fucking business. If
right,
she wants
right,
to lay
right.
down with that man, she loves him, that's fine. Because me and Kiki Palmer could bump heads. I've never met her. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But what's funny is when I see a man do something like that, that's a 4, 5, and a 6, and really has nothing to bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? They got a little bit of dick, or they got a little bit of money, and they got a little bit of this and that, but they have nothing solid, and they don't have no anchor. Because you got to remember, when you put an anchor down, the anchor, when you drop an anchor out of a boat, y'all gonna be there for a minute, and then
Mm-hmm.
the
right.
reason why you're there. So
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of times when women think they got an anchor because they working at Microsoft or they working at Google or they working at or so they started their own company, whatever you say. But when you insecure and you really can be replaced, you need to stop the bullshit. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, man, get them passport brothers. Those the passport, bro. You be like, look, man, you know what? I love you, baby, but I'm gonna be gone for like 6 months. And Jay Z said this, and I don't even like Jay Z like that. Hey, man, when you love something, let it go.
Right.
If that
Right.
motherfucker real, it's gonna come back. Goddamn, you heard
Yep.
Yeah,
me?
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. I think the whole monogamy situation, it goes back to it go back to honesty, like y'all say, honesty. But then you got to bring in the economics and the hegemony, the issue. And when I say, I don't mean to throw out big whatever type of words, but just the power dynamic of things. It always matters. The economics, the issue of honesty, and the issue of the power dynamic there them all gonna play a big role. But
Which is
I'm
crazy because like men don't really give a fuck about how much money women make. We care
mhm.
about your contribution to your femininity, and we care about the how generous you are with your time. And like here's the thing, and here's why women struggle. Women struggle because women hate other women. It's almost worse than black folks. And at the end of the day, that shit is fucking annoying. And like I tell women this all the time, and I've had sex with quite a few women in my life. And I said, look,
Fifth.
that, that first time is something we both wanted. That second and third time is something that we need to discuss. You understand what I'm
Mhm,
saying? He's
mhm,
like,
Yeah.
no, 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 because anybody will do something once. You be like, some people jump out of planes, some people eat wasabi and don't cringe. So like, some people eat ice cream. You never know. And be like, oh yeah, man, that shit don't bother me. You're like, okay, whatever you say. So my
mhm.
point to that is like, yo, capitalistic society is so fucked up. And like a lot of times, if you value your vagina, you already know that a man has an opportunity to have other vaginas. But if you are a woman, you know that if you bring something to the table more than that, he's gonna come back. He's gonna want you for something more than that. I swear to
Right.
God.
And then they and
And he's gonna
I
respect you
think
for that, even when you don't want to fuck. He's
the
like, okay.
misconception though among a lot of women though is that's a career, and it's not. it's, a,
What
Right. It's not. Not.
it's not a career that for a woman that keeps a man. There are a lot of other things that far surpass what a woman does in terms of a job. So I think that has to be understood as well. What you bring to the table is not necessarily the fact that you work for Google and Microsoft, like you said. It's
Right.
Or whatever you do, whatever. I don't know where women are working and getting these cocky attitudes.
the issue of monogamy. Hey, y'all let us know. Do you know? Is monogamy natural?
Yeah, when Shamar Moore walk in the room, all of a sudden now you ain't monogamous. You motherfucking rotten piece of dog, fucking turd, rotten ass.
Is
When Idris
monogamy
Elba walk
natural?
in, all of a sudden now, you know what I'm saying? Like you want to try to, you don't remember my name. And like, you know, like men and women, you know, definitely now, and it's not a generational thing. Everybody way too sensitive. I think you should stay in your lane and understand the circumstances. When you understand, there's no coming back.
Mhm.
It's accountability.
Yeah. The milkman was getting it, you know, back 50 years ago, it was the milkman.
This motherfucker was giving you cow milk from a cow's titty and he was fucking your mama. That's crazy.
Yeah, or the mailman, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't think it's this brand new social media they created. Like,
Yeah.
you know, where
The
there's a
pool, like the
will,
pool boy. The
where
pool boy.
yeah, where there's a will, there's a way. And you know, men think we the only one we're running around and you know getting some with you know at work or wherever else. But no, women, you know,
I
it's
know some women cheated. I know some women who didn't even know that one of their child was actually in a marriage where they both made 6, 7 figures. I know women who didn't even know that one of the childs was the actual her husband's. She told me that with a straight motherfucking face. She had doubts. You know what I mean? She thought it was some dudes on the road, but she wanted to marry me and she wanted me to be monogamous. And I said, not today, lady. Not today.
right. Yeah, you see, you know,
Look at
like
Charles. He's like, what? Like you're like, what the fuck?
like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It just so happened that you know his nanny's son that was raised
Oh
right up
yeah,
in
that's
their
right.
house.
He a big ass motherfucker. Yeah.
Oh, he look a whole lot like Arnold. Then it mess around, find out that he is daddy.
Man, he was knocking that bitch down, man. Like, it's Arnold. You like, oh, you attracted to that? That's incredible.
Oh, but yeah. But anyhow, look. I think we got to get out of here. We done it. You know,
man. Shit.
it's been.
I didn't drop the ball on my duty, but it's all good.
Oh no, not that.
Yeah,
But
Hey, man, sometimes it's better, man. Ain't nothing like it. If they love it, it'll come back.
right.
It'll come back.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's what's up, man. Y'all let us know in the comments, man. Do y'all think monogamy is, what's the question, Jay?
Is monogamy natural or is it imposed?
All right, yeah. Let us know in the comments, man. What
I
y'all
feel
think
imposed.
about that. And we'll talk a little bit more about this next week, man, or maybe even a lot more about it. Y'all let us know what y'all think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we'll get to it. Hey, y'all, but I think I think we did it, Jay. I think we did it, Elijah.
I think so. It's been real.
It's been raw.
No condemnation.
No condemnation.
And I'm Dirk Diggler. Peace.
Peace.